They should know how to turn this on.
Good morning, everyone. Tell everybody's very excited to be back here this morning, wide awake. We are going to get things started. You want to make your way into to your seats and get going. We're going to start things off this morning. We have our first speaker with us today that's going to get things going is Bruce Craig. He is with Lands of America. You can see it up on the screen. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about land and marketing. We've got some handouts that he's going to give out to everybody here once we all kind of get settled in. So if you can get your seats, we're going to get started with Bruce.
How y'all doing? Is this okay? Can you hear me okay? Okay. So, Claire, I guess in a second, I have some handouts. They're going to cover a lot of what I'm going over here, but so happy to be here with you all. I've been speaking with MarkNet for a while here regarding trying to get a potential group buy-in for you all for Lands of America. Because how many of you, I know some of you all have done some stuff on Lands of America or Land and Farm in the past, right? And I was talking to another gentleman earlier today. It's very, I hate to say it, it's very expensive to do marketing on Lands of America, Land and Farm, on just kind of a one-off auction kind of deal. I don't know if you all have experienced that or not. But so what I would like to talk to you either, personally or as a group, it's obviously better to do it in a whole purchase. But regardless of that, I wanted to go through, there's been a lot of changes for people who have been on in the past. There's been a lot of changes over the past year with Lands of America. The parent company is Land.com. And Land.com, for those of you who are unfamiliar, we are the largest and most effective online marketplace for rural real estate. Okay? And if you did not know this, we are owned by CoStar. Have any of you all seen those Apartments.com commercials with Jeff Goldblum, right? I don't know if you all have seen those. So Apartments.com, LoopNet, I know some of you all probably done some stuff on LoopNet in the past, but CoStar is the parent company. But who is Lands of America now? We own the 3 largest websites in the rural real estate space. So we are Lands of America, Land and Farm, and Landwatch. So I guess show of hands, how many of you all have done something on one of those sites? Okay, good. Okay. So what does that mean for you traffic-wise? I say we're the largest, but I wanted to talk to you about how many people that is, what the makeup of those people are, etc. So between the different sites, you can see we have 6.8 million visits per month on average amongst those 3 sites. And that is composed of 4.5 million visitors. Okay. We also have, I wish I had a copy of this, the package got lost somewhere, but I wanted to show you all this. I don't know if you've done any advertising in our Land magazine, but it is a really nice publication. Have any of you all seen that Land magazine in the past? It is a quarterly publication. We have a national land magazine. We also have a Texas land magazine. As you can see, with a quarterly circulation of about 35,000 for each of those magazines. I wouldn't advertise in that magazine for a particular property, but if you would like to advertise your business, right, you can take out a page about your business, because again, with the nature of the auction, business, you obviously wouldn't put a property in there, but you could definitely take out a page or a half-page ad about your business. In addition to the 3 major websites, we also have a network of over 45 partner sites that we distribute your listings to as well. So once you put your listings on our network, they're distributed to Farm Credit, AgWeb. We power the Wall Street Journal's land search. So you can see some of the different ones here, RLI as well. So again, once you put it on the network, it's going everywhere. Okay? Now, who are our visitors and what's their makeup? 41% of our visitors are over 45 years of age. As you can see, they have a household income of over $100,000, a strong interest in ag and real estate. They're spending an average of 13 minutes on our site. And as you can see, 60% of our traffic comes from mobile. We actually released a new version of our website yesterday. It is now mobile responsive. We're doing away with some of the clunkiness of it. It speeds up the experience. It makes it a better user experience on mobile, because as you all know, mobile is growing, and I would assume it's actually probably more than 60% now as well. So mobile is becoming a bigger and bigger part. Any questions so far? No? Okay. All right, so wanted to talk about also the exposure that you're getting compared to some of the other sites if you're out there. Some of y'all may have done stuff on LandClip and so forth. We have 24 times the traffic of the next closest website out there, which is LandClip. And if you take all of the websites out there combined that deal with land, we have 9 times the traffic. So again, if you're thinking of putting your property out there online that has anything to do with land, this is the place to be for sure. Okay. So let's talk about the different listing plans out there. You have the standard plan. Standard plan, we have 3 plans, as you can see here. There's 3 different levels. The standard plan, it is smaller picture. As you can see, you can feature your name and business out there. The one thing that I do like is where it says competition-free property pages. When you put your listing out there and I open up your listing, there's no other competition out there. It's just about you all. So you get to feature your name and business, but it's kind of the base entry on entering your listings. What I'm here to talk to the group about is the next level up, the premium plan. So I want to focus on this. The premium plan, 2 things that you get above and beyond the standard plan. Obviously more exposure, 3 times more exposure than the standard plan. But you also get your logo out there. You'll see on the standard plan, you do not get your logo out there. So there's no branding for your company. It's just your name out there. So one thing I do like about the premium plan, in addition to the increased exposure, is the logo. You also get a link back to that property on your website that you don't get on the standard plan. So you get your logo to brand, you get a link back to your website to drive traffic back, not only for that property, but for other auctions and other properties on your website. And then again, larger picture, more exposure, higher up in the rankings when people are searching for property in that area. If you wanted to, you're more than welcome to step up to the signature plan. As you can see, that is our top listing plan. It's roughly about 2% of the listings. This is more for people who are, the larger brokerages, let's say the Whitetails, the Mossy Oaks, something like that, who are truly in the land business full time. They're the ones that are purchasing the signature plans. top of the rankings, larger pictures, 9 times more exposure. But it's, again, it's for people, other than a little higher ranking, they're not getting any additional benefits. They still get the logo, linking back to their page and so forth. But it's truly for people who are in the land business full time. Okay. Now, all of the plans, whether it's the standard or the premium or the signature, all of our plans, as you can see, have a custom mapping tool. So some of you all may use MapRight, or if you've heard of some of the additional marketing tools out there, we do have a custom integrated mapping tool that's part of this program. We also offer sales comps, national sales comps are included with all of our listing plans as well as inclusion in the seller directory. When people are looking for a company in the area, you're included in that directory. Okay. So far, so good. Any questions? Yes.
Just quickly, drone video. I said you have unlimited photos and all, but you also upload video.
Right. So it is great question. It's unlimited photos and videos. Kind of have a cheat sheet as well. So, if we go back here to the different plans, right? You have your signature plans, you have your premium, and then you have your standard. The better the quality of the listing is, the higher that they will rank within their particular class. So again, I'm talking to you all, I think you should do the middle class, which is premium, but there's tricks to get your listing ranked higher. And one of those is video. Do you have a headline about what your ad is, or about what your property is rather? How many photos do you have? Is it mapped properly? Do you have at least a 200-word description? So if you all were to do this, whether individually or as a group, there are a little cheat sheet. There is a little cheat sheet about what I would say that you should do to help you rank higher in the listing class that you're in. Okay? But definitely videos are a big part of that. Now, in addition to just, that's kind of getting your listing out there on our network. That's what you have to do, right? That's the base thing, what you have to do. That's what I'm talking to the group about is, okay, let's get you a listing plan. Let's get your properties out there so they can be seen. Now, what can we do for additional exposure? Whether you want to do it as a group, whether you want to do it as individually. One of the things that you can do is what we call a showcase property. So what that does is that is the highest exposure. If you want to make a mental note or what have you, that is the highest exposure that you can get for a listing on our website. Because what it does is when people come into the particular state that your listing is in, not only does it show up on the home page for that state. So if I'm looking for property in Kentucky, when I land on the Kentucky homepage, there's 10 showcase properties, and yours could be one of them. When they go to that particular county or city or zip code that property is in, it is at the top of the page. It's even beating those signature properties that I told you that the whitetails and all that are doing at the top level. This trumps all of that, and you can do this as a one-off. So if you just had a property that you wanted to have as a showcase property for a month, you can trump all of those other people who are on the signature plan with your showcase property. And so when they come into Kentucky or whatever, Georgia or whatever state you're in, your showcase property is on the landing page for the state, and it's always at the top of the page, no matter where they're looking, city, county, zip, what have you. Okay? So I would definitely take a look at maybe adding that additional feature to bump that one listing up on a case-by-case basis. Okay? The other thing that you can do, some of the other things that you can do that I really like is we have email newsletters. Bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, depending on what platform. We have separate newsletters you can see for Land Watch. We have one for for Lands of America, we have one for Land and Farm. So again, depending on what you're looking at, whether it's a regional or a national or what have you, it depends on the frequency. But on all of them, for the most part, there's 10 properties that are featured in that newsletter. So I live in Birmingham, so I'm very familiar with the Southeast newsletter. So for instance, the Southeast newsletter goes out every 2 weeks to a group of 82,000 people. Okay, your feature is 1 of 10 properties, and on average, $300 for that spot to hit 82,000 people. We can provide you with the open rates and so forth. So it's very high open rates. You know, again, we're not hitting them every week. We're not hitting them 5 times, 2 or 3 times a week. It goes out once every 2 weeks, trying to keep our open rates and our click-through rates high. But again, you're hitting tens of thousands of people as being 1 of 10 properties in that newsletter. Okay? And again, there's regional newsletters and there's national. Landwatch actually has a specific auction newsletter that goes out once a month. Okay? So far, so good. Confused yet? No good? Here's what I really like. This is probably my favorite product, which is our dedicated email blast. What we can do here is kind of take it a step beyond the newsletters, and we can tailor a an email blast just for you. So this is what I would really take a look at with auctions, because what you can do is either you all can create the email, or we can create it for you at no additional charge. But you can come to me and say, hey, I've got an auction in a month. Can you tell me how many people you have in Alabama looking for, let's say looking for a property between this acreage and this price range? I can tell you exactly how many people we have in our database, and we can target just to those specific people. So as opposed to the email newsletter where it's going out to a region and you have no control over who's getting that, with a dedicated email blast, it's specifically for the state or states that you're interested in and the price range and the acreage that people are looking for on our site. And you're emailing people who have, number one, opted in to receive email from us. They've saved listings as their favorites in this price range, or they've said, hey, notify me about properties in this price range. But again, and on this, we can provide you with the open rates and the click-through rates. We only send to a certain area. So let's say you wanted to target Alabama again, as my example. We can only target that group once a week. So again, if someone else has already done that, you're gonna have to wait a week or so. So again, we're trying to keep our open rates and our click-through rates high. We're not trying to spam people 2 or 3 times a week. So again, this would be a great package. I've been doing this for a couple of years. This would be a great add-on for any auction package. Okay. Any questions? You guys are awfully quiet today. Okay. Another thing that you can do, again, just some extra stuff, to brand yourself. Okay, this is not a property, but if you wanted to brand your company as the auctioneer of choice, the brokerage of choice, whatever the case may be, in a certain region of your state, what we have is we call these broker ads. So when people are searching in various counties, cities, in the areas that you target, you can have this ad show up on every single page. This is a Landwatch example. So when I'm scrolling through your region and looking at all the different properties that pull up, on every search results page, you can have this banner that's showing you as the land specialist, the auctioneer, whatever the case may be. Okay. A couple of other options are banner ads. You can see we have a nice, what we call a promo strip, that little skinny one going across the top of the page. Again, you can focus this by state, by county, by region. So we have a promo strip. and we have skyscraper banners as well. Again, I would look at this as more of branding your company as opposed to a listing. Those are some additional things that you can do. And again, branding yourself, I would take a look at the Land magazine as well as a nice way to brand your companies. Okay. That's kind of a run through of everything. And then we set aside some time for questions, or if you want to hop in and see how things work live. But any questions on, again, you have the base listing plan, so let's get your listing on there, and then do you want to enhance it with showcase property? Do you want to do it with the newsletter, email blast, brand yourself with banner ads, lots of different options for property or for your brand itself. But any questions out there?
What's the cost and the length?
Well, on an individual basis, we have everything from 1 month to a year. I guess I would say I'd answer it this way. It's definitely cheaper. The most expensive way is going to be just a one-time, 1 month deal. If you were to do it individually, I would 100% say you should do it on an annual basis. It's going to depend on, do you want to get in at the standard level, the premium, or the signature. Again, talking to MarkNet as a group, it is much less expensive. You know, it's much less expensive to buy a 100 listing plan than you doing it as one listing by itself. So I know that's a broad, answer, but I guess I'll answer this. On an individual basis, to do one listing for 1 month, you're probably looking at $150, $200 to get on the network. I know that's crazy, right? It's really not meant to do. This is really not meant to be a one listing, 1 month kind of deal.
Well, what about an annual? Just say you want to rotate your listings on there for an annual basis. I'm talking about an individual.
An individual?
Just one company.
Yeah, if you wanted to do one listing across the board, it's probably around $100 a month, for one listing. And again, if you did, let's say after that, the next level up is a 10 listing plan. At that point, I think the 10 listing plan is, I'll tell you exactly. So if you wanted to do one listing, it's $100. If you wanted to do 10, it's $200. So again, if we go in as a group, it just goes down substantially as opposed to doing it as a one-off for one listing. Yes?
So I think my membership is for all three, and I don't know how many, but I pay $640 a month.
Okay.
So I would love to be able to cut that down. And even before CoStar bought it, because I'm not a fan of CoStar, but before CoStar bought it, I was for the same thing that I'm getting now. I was paying less than half that. So when CoStar bought it, I went $640 a month.
Yeah, and so for that, you're probably 30, 50 listings, something like that, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. So 30 or 50 listings, you're getting up to that price. I don't know if you have any additional stuff or if it's just a listing plan. But yeah, it's when we acquired LandWatch a year or so ago. And again, for those of you who have been on in the past, you know back in the past, you could say, oh, I just want to be on LandWatch, or I just want to be on Lands of America. Now it is a universal program, so the price has gone up. But you're on all three sites. Again, if you look at the traffic, it's, if you go out and Google land for sale in probably any one of your areas, we're going to be the number 1, number 3, number 5, number 4. We're probably going to be 3 of the top 5 spots wherever you look. So, and then we saw with regards to traffic, we're 24 times the next size, 9 times of all of it. So, yeah, you're getting that exposure.
But if we banded together,
Yes.
and said, and I don't know, if you're talking about banding together, is everybody put their listings under one mark
Right, so how it works, you would work just like, so I handle our national accounts, so just like Whitetail, you would be just like that. So how I'm looking at it, and we don't have to do it this way, how I'm looking at it is, MarkNet buys the listings, but when you need to put your 30 listings up there, they're all gonna be branded you. You're gonna be what we call a child account under there. So you're gonna have your own account, your own login. You manage everything. It's all branded to you. Your own dashboard. All the leads come to you. It's like you have your own separate account. You're just getting the bonus of the group buy-in. If that makes sense, right? So MarkNet's not controlling anything. You're just getting the benefit of being under one umbrella and having to pay, instead of you all having to pay 30 individual accounts, it's just so much less expensive to do it as a group. If you're buying 30 or 50 listings and the group wants to buy 300, it's going to be a lot less expensive.
On your newsletter, the Land Watch newsletter, you said there's an auction section that's monthly. We're in the auction industry here, so we're operating with time-specific listings.
Right.
Is that something we should be looking at, Land Watch newsletter?
Well, yeah. The one thing I don't like about the Land Watch, I guess the auction newsletter is, it is monthly, so what if you miss that last cutoff and your auctions in 2 weeks or whatever? So my big thing would be, so I think that's a great, if we've got time to put it in there, I would 100% take a look at it.
What's your lead time?
We need to know that it's going in there just about a week beforehand, right? So we need to know that you want to put it in there about a week beforehand, and then it'll go out. My suggestion to you, what I've always pitched, and what has been successful, is the dedicated email blast, right? That is a lot more flexible when you come to me and say, hey, I've got an auction in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Who do you have in Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee looking for this type of property and in this price range? It literally takes about 3 to 5 days to create that email and send it out. So on that, it's a much quicker turnaround, and it's segmented just to your people that you're looking for.
So like the December newsletter for Land Watch, what's the deadline? When do I have to have that? Is that in November?
I have to see. I'm not sure if it goes out the first of every month. I can't remember. But let's just say it's December. Let's just say if it's the first of every month, right? If it's the first of every month, I need it in by the third week of every month to get it in that next newsletter. Yeah.
You mentioned you're not a big fan of Land Watch. What would you suggest?
I did not say that. No, not a big fan of the let's say the auction newsletter.
Tell me what you think we should do in the auction industry.
Right. So here's what I would do.
We get a contract signed on the 1st of November for a $3 million auction, and we've got the date set first week of January.
Yep.
What can we do?
So in that instance, here's what I would do, and here's the base of what I'm pitching for the group. Is number one, we go in at a premium listing. Okay, we're the middle level. Okay, we're the middle level. No reason to go to the signature because it is so astronomical in price, and I've got kind of a cheap workaround for that. So we go in at the premium level, okay, and then what I would do is I would make that one listing. This is what I'm pitching. I would make that one listing a showcase property. Okay, so when people go in, let's go in here. I'll show you. So when people go in and they look for Kentucky, oh, sorry. When they're looking in Kentucky, the first properties that show up in Kentucky are the showcase properties. So so my suggestion is make that auction property a showcase property, okay? Because whether I come in at the state level or in Madison County, where that is located. So if we search Madison County,
So can we get that in quick enough to you to be a showcase property? If it's an auction?
see there it is again. Oh, 100%. I was speaking to a gentleman earlier today. If you wanted to get some, I mean, now, not as a group, but once you're up and running, right? Once you have an account with us, that listing's on today, right? If you had an account with me and you wanted that showcase prop, if you wanted to enter that auction in there and you wanted to have that showcase property to appear on the state level page and at the top of everywhere, I can have it there in an hour.
But I would have to be an annual advertiser.
You don't have to be. It's gonna be much cheaper for you to do it that way. Yes.
And it's quicker to get it in.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because if you were just calling me as a one-off all the time to do something, I want to do something, it would probably take 2 to 3 days to turn that around. But if you already have an established account with us and now you have a new auction, your listing's in there, and however long it's going to take you to upload the photos and the description, 5-10 minutes, it's there. And then you click a button that says, yeah, I want to make that a showcase property as well as part of my package. Okay, it's at the top of it's on the state level page, it's at the top of every search results page. That would be the basic essentials of what I would say you need to do.
And that's if you're under contract.
Yes, and then again, I think as an auction, okay, yeah, do we do a newsletter? Do we do a dedicated email? I would definitely take a look at one of those things as well. But the two basic things I do is let's get the listing on, and then let's make it a showcase spot so it shows up on the state page and at the top of the page wherever they're looking in that state.
What is it that comes up that shows the potential buyer that this is actually an auction? I'm listed on LookNet.
Yeah.
And I asked about making it larger or clear, and they said that's all they can do, and it's amazing how many people still call them on the price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's not because they didn't know what an auction was, they just didn't see it.
No, they label it as an auction. I'm just trying to see. It is labeled as an auction. Let me see if we've got any that I can show you. I don't see any right off the top, but you can actually they can look right here if they want, if you just want to click it down. But see how it says auction before the description? That in a normal search, without them actually having to click and drill down for auctions, when they're scrolling through the search results, it's going to say auction at the very beginning. That's by default, because when you're loading the property in, you're telling me whether it's an auction or not, and by doing that, it gets that label. Yeah.
If you mark an auction, will it still show up on general search?
Oh yes, yeah. So this is DeKalb County, Alabama. So let's go there. But let me take off the auctions, right? There it is. See right there. Yeah, so it'll still show up. But again, that's a good point too. Is the better that you can label your property, it's an auction, it's hunting land, it's this, it's that. You can see over here on the right side, on the left side rather, there's all these other filters that you want to, it's a waterfront property, right? So you want to be able to, when you enter your listing, tag it with all the different property types. So if people do search waterfront, or if they do search commercial, as long as you've got it labeled that, it's going to show up. If not, they're not going to find it. But yeah, everything's going to show up in a generic search. You just want it to be labeled when they drill down. Any other questions? So again, hopefully we can work something out as a group buy. If not, again, just for your own personal, again, get on as a listing plan. So again, my recommendation would be the premium level, and then showcase it so it shows up at the top of the search results. And then, do I want to do some extra stuff, right? Do I want to brand myself with some banner ads? Or again, do I want to promote the property with either a newsletter or a dedicated email blast?
Do you have a cost sheet somewhere showing what all of those, what it costs to do each one of those?
I do not. Well, I don't, because they're all based on traffic. So like when I said the Southeast Regional Newsletter ranges around $300 or so a spot. The Texas newsletter is probably a lot more than that, right? So here's what you all can do as well. Just in the interim, on an individual basis, if you go to land.com and you go to contact us, if you go to contact us, you can find who your local representative is. All you have to do under contact us is type in your county right there, and it'll tell you who your local rep is, and he or she could then tailor a package for you. Oh yeah, we've got the newsletter available, it's this, here's how much a dedicated email would be, here's how much a listing plan is if you wanted to do a one or two listing plan or so forth. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, good. Okay. But I'll be around here for a while as well if y'all want to talk to me individually. But otherwise, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. And, again, the people that I've helped in Alabama, Georgia, in that area with the auction packages, work with JP King a lot and people like that. They've really been successful with these campaigns. So hopefully, whether it's as a group or individuals, you'll take a look at this. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys, if you want to take about a 15-minute break, we're going to come back in and we'll get started with our next session.
There we go. Look, well, they got you to finish on
So no, I'm not. I guess I'm not. I'm not.
So you are, but so your problem is I would say, I mean, I hate to say it, but if it's commercial license, we really can't help people. I mean, if you were saying, hey, all I have is commercial land, well, I wouldn't say, but here's what I was saying. If they typed in commercial land for sale, then they're probably going to want to. Are they going to our site initially for commercial land? No, but if they did like a Google search, I bet you a 10 out of it. I mean, if you had some extra spots, I would put them. I think. Well, yeah, I mean, depending on well, the prices have even gone up since. I mean, but depending on what you're listing, I mean, they're probably all already. Say 50 listings is 600.
Right.
I mean, you might have something.
But, yes, so I'd be all for
So just
I mean, and I know you don't probably, most of them did, that here, and I was playing, what do you, 20% for them? I got you. Yeah.
I would think that you at least that. I mean, it's a pretty sweet. What I'm trying to do is, what I'm trying to do is, say it's like $200 for every listing. Yeah, I think there's only, there's been a lot of people who've used it on one-off or something. I don't think you too.
did.
She went over there and I just told her.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get going again. I know people are kind of getting out of here already, trying to get home. Try to maybe get you out of here a little bit early today. Really, that's going to be dependent on you at this point, because our next session is really just open discussion. We put, I got a lot of requests for, hey, we want time to be able to just discuss things with each other, talk about maybe challenges we're facing, things that we're seeing, whatever may be going on in the industry right now. So we want to give you guys opportunity to kind of pose questions to each other, talk about maybe some challenges you face in your office, face booking deals, whatever the case may be, and see if, collectively as a group we can, help with that, or at least share information. And one of the things that I get asked quite a bit, when somebody, calls in, or I talk to them, I'm not in place, whatever, has to do with, especially with real estate, like, hey, what's the market like? What do you see going on in the market? And we talk about a few things. Talk about the residential real estate market. Talk about commercial market, and we talk about the land, both farmland and recreational. And, what's that like? So I guess one thing just to kind of open things up would be, what do you guys see going on with your markets right now when we look about real estate? Is there anything that's doing really well? Are you struggling? Are you seeing, it down, up this year? Different segments. So I can offer a little bit, what I see. It seems like residential real estate is still selling, but maybe that we're going to see a nasty trend happen again with that. I think that farmland still at good prices. I think prices are certainly not at what their high was. And my personal thing or opinion on farmland, when we look at it, is that prices aren't at their high yet. These are still pretty solid prices. Because I know there were times where, at home we would sell land and maybe it's $8,000 an acre. Thought, well, man, that's pretty good. That's pretty good prices. And then all of a sudden you end up doubling that a couple of years, a few years later, and you get this mindset of, ooh, and everything's got to be, $13,000, $14,000 an acre. We consider it really good, but the truth is, $9,000, $10,000 an acre for a piece of farmland is really good prices. So to see it go crazy high and then make this, if it's correction or drop or whatever, doesn't, in my opinion, necessarily mean that farmland prices are bad. It just means that we're getting more realistic again. And there's nothing you really do about it when you have to ride the commodity market as to what people are going to be willing to pay. I think there's still plenty of cash out there when it comes to farmland. I think if I look at recreational land, it fell off the face of the earth at one point, and maybe came back a little bit because people had money to spend again. They could spend money on things that they wanted, not just things that they needed. Do I think it's going to go through the roof? No, but I do believe that it came back to some extent. So commercial properties, really not my strong suit at all. So, I lean on other people to kind of tell me what they see in the commercial property market. So, does anybody have anything that they say, different? Like, give me a microphone.
Not about residential.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I'm trying to work out kind of a hybrid system of selling a residential piece of real estate, a house, nice house, where you don't rule out the guy who has to get a loan. And that's what I'm up against. Most of my buyers, when you say as is, all inspections must be done before the auction, you rule them out. They're not going to participate in the auction. And realtors see that and they take them somewhere else. So I'm just trying to work out some kind of a system where I'm still going to have an online auction or an auction, but I'm taking offers ahead of time. Is anybody else doing that? That you're allowing them to take offers ahead of time? You're kind of changing the rules of the auction. I'm the only jerk in here doing that. Okay. Yes.
We're going to experiment with one. We don't know. And so because it's the same thing, you're going to buy a little bit of a discount if you have to have cash in it. So what we're doing is, and I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to have several open houses inspection days. We're going to get an inspection on the house because it's a nicer house. It's not a junk house. So what we're going to do is we're going to have several open house days to let people come in. We're going to get an inspection report ahead of time and make that available to anybody. Then we're going to have a couple of days where if you want to have an inspection, you can have an inspector come in, but it's got to be on the 2 days that we set. We are going to get our own lender this, I'd like any opinions on this. But when we do new home construction, we have a lender, and before we will go under contract with you, you gotta get approved with our lender. Now, you don't have to use our lender, but if you do use our lender, we'll pay some of the closing costs. You can use your own lender, but before we'll build you a house, you have to be approved with our lender. And like I say, that's just to know that, you know, cause there's people out there, you can get on the internet and get approved in 30 minutes and it's worthless. So on this, what we're thinking about doing is getting our lender, and you gotta get approved with our lender, you can pay, or if you're paying cash, proof of funds. And I hate limiting people that can bid on the auction, but I think that's the only way we're gonna do it. And then we're giving a longer closing time, instead of a 30-day closing, we're giving a 45-day closing. And we're gonna try that. Don't know if it's gonna work, we'd love anybody's opinion.
Are you offering sale before the auction?
I'll sell anything.
Okay.
Who's taking pre-auction offers on your residential?
Like whatever way to get it sold.
Anyway, to get it sold, right, yeah.
But the one thing I thought about, or don't know, I can't prove that I ran against it or not. But we, you know, the best auction is an unknown price.
What?
The best auction is an unknown price.
Yeah.
And when we say we'll take 3 offers,
Yeah.
they come in with a price and we
Yeah.
say no. Now we just set a price.
Well, are you using the MLS?
I'm not putting that in the MLS.
Okay, see, I put everything in the MLS.
Yes, I do put it in MLS, but on that, of course, when I get an offer, you know, somebody called me. Last week we had a lake property. The guy told me to open house. Tell him I'll give him 120 today.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even want to say I didn't want to do that because, well, he bid 139 auction day.
Yeah.
But if I would have told him that they wouldn't take 120, now all of a sudden I start throwing cold water on him, and he might not. So that's what concerned me about pre-auction. Yes, we have, and we sold them before, but I'm walking softly along that line because I don't want them to think they want too much.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, Wendy.
Lance, when you put your listings in the MLS, what do you put for list price?
I usually use the price that the assessor has it, or in our MLS, we can do it's called an RVS, you can do a computerized analysis. It's a lot of times pretty good, and I'll go by that, and that's what I put in the MLS. It could be higher than what I'm expecting. I don't want it to be lower. It's usually higher, so I've got room to wiggle.
We actually,
Does it make your phone ring for out-of-state people using Zillow and or Realtor.com?
Yes, sir.
that's the big difference that we've seen, and we used to have an auction tab. We fought forever to get an auction tab in our MLS, only to find out that it was not being syndicated. So it would not spiral web out because all of the fields were not.
Go ahead and Zillow.
Well, yes, it would not go to Zillow through the auction tab. So we started putting it in whatever category it would actually fall in, residential, land lot, farm, commercial, whatever it was. And then we kept fighting with MLS because they wanted to fine us because we were putting it in the wrong category. And so we fought that, and last week they actually just made an auction. There's a little gavel.
Yeah.
It says the word auction right next to it. So, but we don't do what it's assessed at. We do a recommended starting bid. That's how we do that, and it has really. We used to put it in auctions and then in residential. Our auction would get viewed maybe 15 times. The one in residential would be like 250 times. So there was a huge difference on how much it was being viewed. But we offer broker participation. That's key.
And we do, and we put it in maybe sometimes 70%, or maybe 60%, and it really drives it because every realtor out there trying to send a contract, he agrees. He says it's yes, it's starting to, but it does get people fired.
So you put on there, and you put the suggestion starting bid at 60 to 70%.
Yeah. It's just the highest and best offer, and then we have the debt, and this is the recommended starting bid.
put that in your realtor remarks?
I put in realtor remarks, public remarks, and now that it has the little auction tab right there, I think it's gonna, we try to be as transparent as possible. I mean, obviously, you know, if it's a $300,000 house and we have it in at 225, 200, something like that, your phone's ring off the hook, but are they your buyer, you know?
So in doing that though, then are you also taking offers from people as they're calling in?
If they wanna make an offer, we'll take an offer in our contract. Has to be on our auction contract. We write it up, but we don't count it typically. We write
Right.
it for a
Yeah,
seller.
yeah.
You know, you either accept it or decline it. It has to be on the auction contract. But yeah, we'll take an offer prior to.
Okay,
They've got
so,
to
It has
so,
to close before the
It has
auction
to
day.
close before the auction day.
right, okay, so
Marketing stays the same. We don't stop.
So you take the offer, and they have to close on the property before auction day.
Yeah, that way you know you got, so many subdivisions, everybody knows, anything can happen during that process. You already agreed to sell it to that person, you go past your auction date, and well, something happens, well, you just messed up your marketing and everything else for that stuff.
And actually, it
So-
really rules out those people who just wanna make an offer. When you tell them, hey, yeah, we'll accept an offer prior to, but you've also gotta be willing to close prior to that.
So, and you're gonna, okay, just thinking through it is, you got a $275,000 home. I come to you the week before, say, hey, look, I wanna make an offer, and I'm gonna give you $250,000 for the property. And that's my offer, but that's a week before, I'm not gonna be able to close for 2 weeks. You just say, hey,
Just come
I'm
to the
out.
auction.
And one thing about inspections, this happened to me actually.
We try to have an open house as much as we can before the auction, usually the week before, but, potential customers brought their home inspector during that preview time. And I didn't really like it, I just let it run its course, but more of the people that were coming to the open house realized he was a home inspector. He got bombarded with questions and all this. He could have very easily ruined my sale, because I'm not a home inspector, but he's telling all these different people that are prospects what he saw and what was leaking, what needs to be fixed, and that's basically his opinion, but another customer hired. So we no longer allow a home inspection done during our preview time. If they wanted to get it inspected, they're more than welcome to, but it's on a private type situation to where they're not influencing other people.
I just pulled up a foreclosure we have tomorrow at noon. And just to show you the power of the MLS, where it gets syndicated out to Realtor.com and Zillow. Our auction tab, we have all the tabs with residential, land, commercial, multifamily, and auction tab. So when we put this Nashua court, the information in the auction tab, there have been 12 views through our multiple listing service. In the residential tab, where we have it as $100,000, about $200,000 house, roughly, 1,063 views, because it's spidered out to all of those sites. The auction tab does not, because it requires two things. It requires a price and compensation for other realtors. So that's the difference. The auction tab does not allow you to put a price in.
So your price though is the opening bid.
Well, not necessarily.
It's like a
I mean, all
suggestion,
will,
price
everybody calls,
suggestion of.
everybody calls, oh, is that the reserve? I'm like, no, it's just a starting, it's no different than an auction. It's a $200,000 house, there's no doubt we'll go out there tomorrow, somebody will want to offer it about 100.
Yeah.
It'll just take off. Just, that's kind of how we set that opening bid, is what we would normally probably see at a live event. Somebody will open it about 50% and it just takes off.
But we've had a lot more growth participation.
Yes.
A lot more.
We paid out a lot, but we feel like with all those realtors participating, we probably have gained more than that 1% payout.
Okay.
Like that one, because we have a set commission on that one, we're only offering, what was it?
$1,000.
$1,000.
So you put a flat fee in.
It's a flat fee. Normally, we offer 1% of the
Yeah.
bid price.
we've had the multi-list, we've got a traditional real estate and we've got an auction company. We keep them totally separate so that we didn't have to abide by the real estate rules in Missouri on that. We've always fought the MLS about putting it on there because of price and that. And I didn't want to have to belong to the Realtor Association, be on the Heartland MLS and all that BS, and the way that they list them and that. And since my state MLS has come out, I'm not sure when our license comes up in Century 21, we won't dump Heartland MLS and go all with my MLS. Now, it doesn't put it on that syndicated Heartland MLS. It's got 4,000 realtors in Kansas City. But these last two auctions last week, we have seen through that with Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, we're still getting all those. And the realtors calling us and saying that buyer found this. My buyer found this. Tell me about this auction and how it's going to work. And Friday we had 4 registered realtors with buyers on it. None of them bought, but they helped it. Yeah, and I'm tickled they didn't buy. I'm tickled to death they didn't buy, but they helped us on it. So, I'm seeing that. And then about price on there, we've just gone with this philosophy, and it's inundated us with calls and Zillow emails and all that. I sat on a panel with NAA one time, and we talked about where do we set a starting bid on an online auction for a piece of real estate. And that panel convinced me of setting it at $2. It's going to go up. So we put it on, the one lake house, that brought 156,000, we put it on at 10 grand. And we had all kinds of calls because they don't believe Zillow anyways. Because Zillow is wrong half the time anyways. So they don't believe anyway. So it doesn't matter what you put on there. But I feel like the lower you start, the more maybe interest you get on there. Same way with the farm auction, we set it at 85,000 and had tremendous hits on that. So, but this might, and I'm not a spokesman for my MLS, my state MLS.com or whatever, but I'm a believer. It costs like $100 a year versus whatever we're paying for Kansas Board of Realtors and the Heartland MLS and have no control. And they want to find us all the time. Where my state MLS, you just walk on.
Carl, on your broker participation, do you limit the number of people that an individual realtor can sign up? We run into that sometimes. They'll bring me a list. Here's my people. Wait a minute, 3/4 of those will come to myself anyway. I'll let you pick one of those and bring them with you. And you got to be there too. I say you got to be there. Oh, that sells on Saturday morning. I was planning on playing golf. Can I just send them? No, you'll be standing beside them.
It hasn't been a problem. So I don't really know that we limit them. I don't care.
We don't really limit how many people they can sign up. They can even sign up themselves.
We don't really care.
Do you have any restrictions in?
They have to have it in 24 hours prior to the auction. And really, I don't want them there because they pay themselves.
We don't want
I'll do that to keep them from coming.
Does anybody require a opening bid? Do what?
It's against the law for them in Missouri and Kansas. If they're a dual agency, even if you're a dual agency state or transaction broker or anything like that, you can't represent 2 people at an auction legally. Their broker should never allow that. And I've had it, of course, with land auctions especially. I get a broker call, I got Jim Jones here and I got Bob, especially if it's in a different area than you're in, and you don't know for sure who those buyers are. Well, this realtor that's sitting there drinking coffee every Saturday, not doing anything else, says, hey, there's an auction coming up, can I represent you? Yeah. Well, the first time we had that, the broker actually took care of it for me. So they took care of their agent, didn't have to do it. But then an agent auctioneer in our community last week called me and said, I want to represent Brad and I want to represent Jim in an email. And he's the strictest one that would push, and he's an auctioneer and realtor, and he's the one that will question on any real estate law there is, ever. And then he does that to me, and I just emailed him back and said, pick one. And he didn't question. But you can't, they in most states, if you've got agency laws, they can't do that anyway, so there shouldn't be any question.
So I wanted to just come back to something that I was thinking about was condition. If I come and I say, hey, look, here's the offer I'm gonna make, and you say, hey, look, you gotta close before us, so I can't close till after, well, you know what, just come to the auction. I come to the auction, I buy the property, but I buy the property for less than what my pre-auction offer was gonna be. Now, you may not have presented that to your seller, but I go to the seller and say, hey, you know, I'm gonna give them this before the auction. What kind of liability does that put on us as an auction company by the restriction that we have been placed on the potential buyer, the new buyer of the property? The seller says, hey, look, I just lost money because of that.
Let's say you need a contract for the terms and conditions of pre-auction offer.
Well, even if I have it in terms and conditions,
No, I mean in your auction listing contract.
oh, my contract with my seller.
Well, number one, you gotta present all offers. So even if they give us an offer, and when we sit down with every time we get an offer, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. If somebody offers me $2 and it's written on a flat paper sack, I go to the seller and talk about it with them because I don't want to be, I'm not making a decision on what they do. I'm not gonna be put in that situation at the end because I was hired to represent them. I've got a fiduciary duty to them. And I'm not, if I get an offer, if it's $1, I'm calling them and we're talking about it and they're gonna make a decision.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct.
We were just, Tommy and I were just basically just kind of similar thing last week. We had I'll drop that brochure up front, let them look at it. It's one that had I had a client that had two nice buildings in Camden, South Carolina, and 10,000 square foot, 4,000 developed into a hair salon and in operation. But the hair salon had just, after 20 years, bought a place across the street, was moving out. My client's 86 years old, living in this executive apartment, and you know, and he financially, this is all he's got, but he's got a mortgage. The lady next door just took 10,000 feet and did it as a joiner. You know, it's like Marty Hickman says, you go up 500 feet with a brand new buyer somewhere near you, you know, joins you. So she came over, got a home inspector, spent $800, and came through and says, can I make an offer before the sale? I said, well, sure you can. And I said, but then I want you to make it, because I think y'all said that right a minute ago, my Montgomery pals. Once you open the door, sometimes they're just fishing, trying to figure out, right, Captain Ward, is it worth my time coming to auction? He's ready. Problem my gentleman had, he'd been offered, but Tommy and I sold the building next door in 2007 for $700,000. Well, you know what we had in 2008, the crash. Camden, South Carolina has not come back to those levels again, and he had 650,000, or was it 675,000, something, owned his building for 2 years, never had an offer, never had anybody come look at it. You know, so what we did is I counseled with him, and I came back and I said, sell it, what did I say, Mark? He said, wow, sell it at a bid at or above $250,000. Well, we got traffic then. People started coming and looking at the property, and we had just a load of folks come through. So when the neighbor came and wanted to make the offer, my line was, just what your great team came up with, you better make your best one because we're not going to negotiate. MarkNet kept us from going fishing and then make a decision. And then she had a home inspector come through and then called me back on the phone and said, well, I need to spend $300,000 on my roof and my upstairs to develop it out, so we're going to pass. Well, we had the sale. We didn't get the opening bid, negotiated contract, thanks to Tommy brought an investor over from Atlanta. That's what teamwork with all of us will do. I mean, we need to understand what all of us are doing all the time and communicate the deals, because there's somebody out there in your investor team or something that might come look at something in Charleston, or I might come and look at something in Tennessee and Kentucky. So let's just keep that link going. Don't want to take up too much time, but I wanted to say this opening bid deal is a real, you know, I could have gotten a contract with her, and if I hadn't closed before the auction, I might not have any player in town. But she came back at the end when she heard the number, accommodated that, let my seller stay. We had 2 contracts with equal money. And I presented one, and he chose the one he wanted, presented them both at the same time, and he went on and took the one that's gonna let him stay after closing for 3 months and a few things, and made it work, and she raised the bid a little bit and paid the money. And, that's after we gave a little bit of our fee, but, you know, that's the story on that. But I really believe that you don't negotiate that contract, unless the seller just demands it, or you'll be sitting there, and you will have hurt your auction.
Other thoughts on where Lance got us started, pre-auction offers?
I don't wanna be a dead horse, but I guess that might be one.
I'm a realtor, a lot of you realtors, and unless they're auctioneers, I generally don't like them, but I've got to work with them. In Memphis, I have to work with them, they make half my sales, okay? So, I'm even, you know, their contract is 9, 10 pages long, right? With it, when you make an offer, because subject to inspection, appraisal, all that. So, I'm even thinking about taking those when they make their offer and just presenting it to my seller and say, hey, look, you know, they're basically taking it out of the auction and they're making you a regular offer, but can you live with this? And then I try to check and see if they have financing. Anybody doing that, and she'll take a realtor's contract and here's the stipulations. And no way, Jose, huh? Okay. Well, I've done it several times and it's never failed. The sale's gone through every time, but you know, it could fail. Were you gonna say something? Yeah.
So you stopped your marketing?
Yep. Stop the marketing. Stop the auction. Because it's usually early enough that I haven't spent much money. Now, if it's a week before, no, be a different deal. In Memphis, if the house is priced right, it'll sell in a week. That's my biggest competition as an auctioneer now. They can sell as quick as I can, if not quicker. So I'm just trying to adjust and looking for ideas.
I guess that's pretty interesting, Lance, just within your market, and I've heard of some other places like that as well. I mean, has anybody seen that in your residential marketplace where stuff is selling so quickly again to where they're not even, maybe not even contacting a real estate agent, auction company, anything? Alright, so we got, you guys seen it as well?
We've never had that in the last 60 or 75 years.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a little different where we live.
It's hard to, you can't compete now really with houses where we are, because like I said, I mean, they can, if it's priced right, it'll sell faster than we can have the auction, so.
The average days on the market in our general area that we serve, anything under 200,000 is 15 days.
15 days on the market.
Yes.
What now when you get over the 200,000 price point?
It'll bump up a little depending again on where you're at, but, the Richmond area is about 30 days, Somerset's probably about the same, I'd say, wasn't it? Yeah. A little bit longer maybe.
Okay. So, yeah, still not 180 days or, yeah, 30 people would kill for 30 days, where we're at. I guess the other thing is, like, how do we combat a market like that, where, there are different times before the first housing crash, where we really had that going on as well, you put anything up, and, it's gonna sell, which is really the best opportunity to have an auction, because then people are gonna compete on a piece of property. So, I'm not sure how to combat it, to get people to contact you to understand, hey, we're gonna be competitive. Somebody's willing to give you your asking price within 10, 15 days, why wouldn't we want to get people competing for that property?
Well, that's happening too, with the highest and best. Realtors have discovered highest and best, so, our market's changing so fast, some of my agents will come to me and go, what do you think this is worth? Hell, I don't know. It's going up.
Whatever somebody's willing to pay.
Yeah, we'll see stuff that we do, you get a 48-hour, time to respond to the offers. If you've underpriced, you're gonna get multiple offers. We'll go to the highest and best, so,
The thing we found, like, it's kind of interesting talking here, but if you put in the MLS, you know, that if it's a $200,000 property and put in at 0 for an auction, or 10,000, or the assessed value, which is typically way lower than what the house is worth in our area, and you know, if people are looking for a $150,000 to $200,000 home in Zillow with that filter, your auction property is not going to be on their radar at all. You're gone. You're not even there. So it's something you kind of struggle with. You don't want the buyers to know really what you're wanting or needing to sell it for, but at the same time, for it to be on people's radar, you have to have some type of close price in there. So, you know, that's something we kind of struggle with. And then as far as like the offers prior to the auction, something I've been kind of toying with on the last couple projects was, you know, it's basically kind of a list to sell, where the first 3 weeks, you know, of the 5-week process, the first 3 weeks, we'll accept traditional offers. You know, if we can get it sold, we'll get it sold that way. But as soon as we have our showing date, you know, the week before, when what have you, 10 days prior, from then on, it's an auction. And that, it pushes those people that are on the like edge, like, well, I don't want to buy it at auction, so I'll go ahead and put an offer in on it. You know, it still kind of creates that urgency, you know, because they don't want to go to auction and make an offer at the auction, but they'll make a traditional, because it makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside if they make a traditional offer versus buy it at auction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that people, you know, when it comes to, especially, I guess, residential real estate, seem to be still have a stigma about what we do, right? It's still the thought of, oh, if it's going to auction, there's something wrong, or there's, you know, it's not the normal way to do it, so why is this happening, and I'm not used to it, and, you know, they back off a little bit. Now, you know, selling land or something like that, completely different story. People are much more used to it.
Yesterday, Tom was in there, when John Schultz mentioned, yesterday, after the class was over, the roundtable was over, John mentioned that, why don't we sell real estate one day? Because we are behind the race. If a realtor puts a sign in the yard and they sell it that day, they did the contract paperwork the day before. So if we did a 4-day to auction, first day, sign the contract, you can get the pictures and everything that day, or the second day, get all the photos, get all the information, which we can pull that in, most of that information off of the internet anyways, no matter where it is, whatever county, and then do a all-day open house, sell the property that night. So you're done in 3 days. What would be the pros and cons?
Probably really nervous and not be able to like leave the bathroom or something if it was a sale that I just looked. Three days.
Why not?
Not saying you couldn't do it.
At least I'm in Missouri, 30 miles north of us and 25 miles north of us when the sign, it's slowed down because all the buyers now have added 20% to the price. Because they know it's been selling in one day with multiple offers, so now it cooled off. But when it was hot, I bet you 85% of the properties that got listed in Lee's Missouri had multiple offers.
All right, so just a quick poll then. Let's take even 3 days out of it. 1 week. Who would be willing to book an auction and then have it selling on a piece of residential real estate in 1 week if your market's hot?
Why wouldn't you?
if your market's hot,
If your market's hot. Okay.
But you still, one of the things, the auction deal different than that situation of selling in 3 days. Yeah, it's highest and best offers, but it's still subject to appraisals, subject to home inspections, and all these contingencies. We limit a lot of buyers at an auction because young people can't buy without a contingency, and they get 100% loan, we're wanting to pay 10% down, we're wanting to close in 30 days. They need 60 and 90, so that's still gonna be the difference between an auction and selling. Because I agree with you, in these hot markets, if you tell a guy, well, yeah, we can have your house sold in 30 days, why does he want to fool with you?
Right.
When he can put a sign on it and be done.
But the question I have there is too, the highest and best offers that they bring, a realtor brings you, a savvy realtor will show the buyer, savvy realtor will show the seller all the contingencies. Well, you've got 4 contingencies on here. This deal over here, JT's got an offer that's 2,000 less, and he's strong, and you've got a whole day to do inspections. Let the seller decide what kind of risk they want to take on that, I guess.
Well, one of the things I say about the highest and best offer too, that the realtors are doing is that you can only negotiate with one. And who's to say that that other person would not have given more? But they can't. They don't have that opportunity. So when you take out the competitive bidding process, then is the seller really leaving money on the table? They don't know. We don't know. But that's how I kind of compete with what, our market is hot too. And I think within 24 hours, most houses, if they're priced right, are under contract. But with that being said, they've got so many contingencies to get to closing that I don't know that every seller wants that. It's educating them on what their choices are. But the marketing part of the auction 4 days, that's what would scare me about that. Because we really push that we kind of freeze the market. When we start our auction marketing, we kind of freeze the market around your area because people want to wait for that property. I don't know, 4 days, I don't know if we could really push it out and get the kind of activity, the kind of traction we need. Because the longer it's out there, the more and more it spiders out. And we're seeing, we put stuff out there as soon as we can, where we used to wait.
So, your market's probably pretty good, right? You're one of the fastest growing.
Yeah.
6th or 9th fastest growing city in the nation. Okay, 6th or 9th fastest growing city in the nation. So, how quickly is piece of residential real estate selling in your market? If somebody just puts a sign up, day or two.
Yeah, but this is what's funny, that's slowing.
Right.
Yeah.
And what else is happening in our market is buyers realizing they're already going to be in a competitive situation, and they'll offer $30,000 more than the list price, knowing that it's got the contingency of an appraisal. So you go through the appraisal process, it doesn't appraise, then you're right back to the negotiation process. We want sellers to that, so they've actually happened to me. The buyer that
Okay, so, all right. How do we do this with the microphone? They can't hear my home.
Okay. The buyer I was dealing with had already lost out on 3 other properties that he had put contracts on. And so I'll get this offer on one of my listings, and it was about $30,000 more than I had it listed for, which that is way out of the norm, but not too far out. Some of them 15 or 20 all day long. But I asked him about that. He says, well, I know the seller will probably take this offer, but when it comes time for the appraisal process to come through, I'm gonna go back and I'll end up having to renegotiate and get it for a fair price.
So the buyer tells you that up front.
Oh, he told me that. I told my seller that. And the seller said, we'll take that gamble. And sure enough, it came back about $20,000 under that contract price, and we still got it sold, but it took 5 weeks to get it done because in our area, appraisers are backed up, home inspectors are backed up. You can't get a home inspection. If you contract it today, it's 2 weeks before you get an inspector out there. In most cases, it's 2 weeks to get an appraiser out there.
Is anybody seen, the hedge fund guys buying up residential houses in your market? We have one doing a whole subdivision, developing a whole rental subdivision in our county. And they're buying.
So a hedge
fix them, they were not finished, we were gonna fix them up and resell them. So with my luck, by the time we finished fixing them up, the market had crashed worse, and so we kept them and rented them. Well, when the market picked back up, we started selling them off, and I listed one morning, and, I mean, within an hour, I got a full price offer on it. And I was like, I had a manual lockbox on, so I knew they hadn't been in the house, there were no contingencies and closed in 2 weeks, and I thought, this is a scam, so I threw it in the trash can. And I went to a meeting about halfway through the meeting, I thought about it, I called my wife, I said, hey, go look at my trash can, there's a contract on a house that we got. Look that company up and see if they own anything in the county. And she called me back about 10 minutes later, and she said, looks like they bought about 40, 50 houses in the last 3 months. So I said, put that contract back on my desk, and we ended up selling 5 houses, and they'll close. They were closing in 2 weeks. Several of them I know, they never even went in the house.
Matt, and Charlie can speak to this too, that he just sold one to one of those, they advertise like crazy. Buy your house, no repairs, no this,
Right.
and it's accurate, but they do an inspection and they get the report back and then they just beat you down on price. They get you, sounds real good, so Charlie, I don't know how you do that.
Well, for example, I had it priced at $219,900. They offered $210 and make no repairs. That was the contract. They wrote it up on their contract. I presented it to the sellers. Of course, these companies have their own inspection companies. I mean, they were there the next day to do the inspection because it was a 7-day contingency on inspection. Well, we get the report back, and they discounted $2,000 for the central heat and air being 8 years old. They discounted $1,000 for, they had all these pictures on the wall, but they were going to have to go back and paint the walls, which they were going to do anyway. But it was itemized, different things that they were having to do, they said. Long story short, we ended up selling it for, I think it was $203, and they knocked about $7,000 off after my sellers already agreed to it, and they're thinking that, well, we have this high price, but then all these other potential buyers are gone because they're doing their deal. But sellers were still happy, but they can get you in that trap.
We only sold 4. We sold 4 houses, and they tried that on one of them. It was a different company, and they sent me a price reduction and a termination. Said pick which one you want. And I signed the termination and sent it back. Well, these were our properties too, so I didn't have to climb. So I signed the termination and sent it back to them, and they called me back within an hour and told me to tear the termination up. They were going to go through with this contract.
Yeah. So, is anybody trying to specifically market to like hedge fund investors, any kind of investors, whether it's residential real estate or land or anything like that? I know at one point there was a lot of opportunity to try to sell, at least in our area, some farmland. We had large tracts to, investment groups or retirement groups or whatever. Is anybody specifically looking for them right now?
because the market's so good, I feel like people don't.
So been more challenging for you, Lance, on your real estate side. What about like you do your upscale estate side of things? How's that been? That's been good. How do you see prices on the estate side?
Down.
Prices are down.
Prices are down, antique prices are down.
Okay.
Office furniture, give it away.
Office, yeah. Yeah.
I've got a client that I'm selling that development I'm talking about. Anyway, he's fixing to go on a month-long trip, and he just texted me and asked any of y'all talking about an RV you want to sell.
Anybody got an RV to sell?
And he said, he's trying to get the, whatever that one that you can rent.
Oh, yeah.
He can't find one to rent. I said, that's a sign of the economy right there.
Yeah.
If you can't find an RV to rent, I mean, people are spending some money on vacation. So, anybody got an RV, I got a buyer.
December the 7th.
There you go.
December 7th. Will you take pre-auction offers on that? What's the specifics on his RV?
Well, I'm sure he's going to want pretty nice. I mean, like a high end.
It's pretty nice. It's normal. I don't sell him a normal one. The normal one, yeah. I don't know. Is there a difference on like Kentucky normal versus like your other place normal? Or
What's that?
is Kentucky normal the same as everywhere else in the country? Is it? Okay.
Might check anytime or two has a bunch of RVs.
That is true. Benny does used to have a bunch of RVs. I don't know if they're listening right now or not.
I'll send you a text.
What about everybody else? What's your market been like?
Our market's good. I feel like there's been a switch this last year that sellers are, and we work with good people. They're not just jackasses about it, language, but they just want more. They want more. They're a little bit harder to please. You know, we've been in business for 40 plus years, and you're still having to sell yourself, sell the process, you know, and then get to the auction part. We haven't got to the auction part to get the contract signed.
So you feel like you're having a good year on things. You watch what you do. It looks like you guys are selling a bunch of stuff this year, or have. But the sellers are maybe more challenging. It's more challenging to get the deal booked.
It just feels like they want more. They're paying for it, but they just want more. It's requiring more hours. A little harder to get them convinced. You know, we're working harder to convince them to sell at auction in the first place.
So,
nervous, yeah.
and when you're talking about the sellers that you're working harder to convince, is that like on your equipment stuff, or is that on real estate, on both?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because
buyers are getting that way.
You think buyers are getting that way?
My buyers are more demanding.
Are they more demanding about what the product's like if they see an imperfection or?
It's not product based at all. They don't like one all standard. They don't.
They just don't like whatever method you're choosing. They're going to pick it apart.
They don't like the pickup days. They want smaller red increments. It's just they've gotten, just in my world, they've gotten buyers have gotten more regular.
You're saying buyers. So what would be the cause of that? Amazon, yeah. That's exactly what I would think is Amazon.
It'd be a great business if you didn't have buyers.
You had their money. So basically, we can just go to the mailbox every day and get a check.
Yeah.
It'd be okay.
Little bit of credit.
I'm glad you're late for that.
So.
I want, if I could ask you something, I've got a buyer in Columbus, Illinois, he wants you to deliver stuff to him.
Yeah, you know what? You should black flag that guy.
But no, you brought up a point though. Anybody that do delivery service on your personal property, and you charge a fee.
Do a lot of shipping.
unfortunately, you do it, but you don't like it.
So you guys will deliver it to somebody?
Not delivered, but we transfer it from the offices.
Oh, okay.
That was
I want to call y'all for somebody else's auction today. Can you go get that for me?
We do a tremendous amount of shipping, and even.
Well, we ship, but.
And even like semi-loads.
Oh, okay. That's what I mean, I didn't know.
But the difference with them is, I mean, how long have you had a shipping department? I mean, like a full shipping department in your office?
10 years probably, but it's gotten more demanding because, like with our antique tractors, I'm gonna say a fourth of them will maybe not necessarily ship with us, but they make us get shipping quotes.
You're actually acting as the broker between them and the person and the trucking company. Are you finding like
or container if it's going overseas?
Container if it's going overseas. Now, are you looking for? Is it just, hey, we're calling, one or two companies, or are you trying to find the best deal out there for them and get them set up with the best deal?
Yeah, we've got probably a pool of 12 to 15 shippers that we go to. Yes,
Which is good customer service, but that's a lot of work.
A lot of times.
It is. Now, are you being paid for that?
Not adequately.
Yeah. That's, you're doing all that work really for nothing.
Because we're what happens is.
Well,
what happens
I'd say
is-
maybe he's not doing it for nothing though, Chuck, because maybe he should be getting paid more for it, but does that bring buyers back to him?
Well, yeah, my current market demands that if I don't use it, they're gonna go shop someplace else.
Yeah.
Where you lose money. Where we're really getting hammered is when, we take the time to get shipping quotes for people and they're like, it's too high. I'll go do something on my own. Well, wish you would have in the first place.
Yeah. So we got more demanding sellers, more demanding buyers.
Charge handling. You charge handling. If somebody calls and says, hey, I can't get there, can you bring it back to the office?
Yes.
You charge, and how do you charge? Everybody flat out?
Not enough. We're
When you charge, that's a lot easier than selling together.
So we do ours like, sometimes we have pickups counties away from our offices, and we bring things back to our offices because our buyers are closer to our office. So our buyers are closer to our office, and they want that convenience of being able to pick up our office, not going to the pickup. So we're not charging enough, so this winter we're going to probably review our terms and increase all of our handling, our transfer fees and storage fees, things like that, because they just assume to pay the convenience fee. We're charging like $5 to transfer it back, and maybe something bigger. If it's a bigger item, maybe more, but it's not really enough for our time and effort. So we'll be sure to charge you triple.
We're doing, we have in our terms that we're gonna charge $25 a lot if we have to bring it back to the office.
No matter what it is. What is the refrigerator?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well,
So
hopefully it's gonna average out. You know what I mean? So hopefully the night that you can bring 6 things home, make $150, is gonna wash out the one time you're gonna go get a refrigerator. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. We haven't gotten into a lot of that.
That's what scares me.
We're pretty big strippers on, you gotta come pick it up.
The fee was just implemented as more of a punishment or a threat for if you don't show up. But now it is becoming more of like, well, can I tell you, what are you gonna charge me if I don't come? And we're like, wait a second, that's not how that was supposed to work.
So that's pretty interesting. You say, hey, we're gonna install something to scare people off. They go, well, totally worth it.
They're like,
I'm gonna pay that fee.
They're like, what does it cost to not take the item that you're back down?
We're also, when we do, and I got this from another guy, but not in the auction business, but with anybody's take on this, when we do shipping, we charge 50% of whatever it costs to ship it for handling. I had a guy guy that just had a little business over in Amana, and he does copper art or something like that. I just happened to be standing there one day, and somebody from out of state came in and wanted to buy something. He said, well, this is how we do it. So rather than $5 and you lose your fanny on it, or $25 and they don't buy it because you're gonna charge them too much shipping, you know, you're still gonna get complaints, but we've got it right on there. You know, 50% of what, if it's $30 to UPS to send that to Tracy, then we're gonna charge $15 handling. That's what we started doing, and I think we're probably on the stuff that we're doing in our building, that we're in the office that we're cataloging in-house and sending out. We're more than covering our expenses for the girls to put something in even a $6 box, you know, for a flat rate. So we're still, doesn't take that long to close it up, so.
Yeah, so on the flip side of that, you know, there's an auction company down in St. Louis that, once in a while they get kind of some interesting stuff, so I kind of watch it, and they have got super stringent, I mean, they just go all out on their terms. If you're not there between 1 and 3, forget it, it becomes our item. Do not call, do not ask for shipping. I mean, just like, yeah, super harsh. I like it. But then you also see them complaining on social media how they don't think online auctions are working anymore because their stuff isn't breaking as much. And I have seen things on their auctions that I would have bought that I don't participate in because I can't go get them. So that's the other. I mean, like it or lump it or whatever. The expectation of a buyer today is that you're gonna make it easy for them to get their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that really goes back to, you know, we're walking through there and said, what's the cause of this? And they said, Amazon. And that's the culture that we live in, right? I go on Amazon, I filter everything by Prime. Yeah. I'm not gonna order it if it's not Prime, because I get free shipping, and it's within, you know, 2 days, even where I live, and, you know, in a more metro area, it's so much closer. And, you know, with smaller personal property items, I mean, that is something that we have to deal with and understand, is that we have to combat this mentality of, especially this new generation of buyers who has no hesitation on buying things online. Zero, because that's all they've ever known. But their expectation is, I'm going to buy it, and you're going to send it to me today at no cost to me. You know, it's different when we've got a $100,000 piece of equipment, and we're telling the guy, hey, we're going to broker you the best deal, we're going to get it to you, versus, you know, whatever it is we may be selling.
Well, bringing up that Amazon thing, it kind of brings up another point of these personal property auctions. People are buying stuff on Amazon, they get it. If they live close enough to the distribution, it's the same day, you know, or at least the next day. It kind of brings up the point of how long should we reduce the time frame for our personal property auctions? You know, down to, you know, they don't. I feel we had this discussion the other night or at lunch the other day about, you know, people see it and you hit it on the head because people see it and you have their interest, but then they forget about it by the time, you know, it's 2 weeks later, whenever it's actually closing out or what have you. So what is that ideal?
They're shopping in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know, if they see like a dining room set, they're like, oh, this is cool, but when they're shopping on Amazon.
Right, how long do I want to wait for that dining room set? Maybe I can find it somewhere else.
I mean, I get it, and then they get outbid and they don't bid again. You know. So what are people doing? How long are you running personal property auction online, basically?
That's a really good question. You know, what's a good time frame if you're going to run a personal property auction online only? How long are you going to do it?
I know I've already told you, but I can just give an example of what we're doing.
I think just in the last year, we've shortened it up quite a bit and haven't noticed any pushback, any decrease in price. We haven't noticed anything. It makes it a little bit harder on our end as far as the marketing because it has to get pushed out a little bit faster, but it's just a matter of not procrastinating and making it happen on the first day rather than waiting until the third day. But we used to try and do 2 weeks from start to finish, and then we were like, that's a little bit too long because we're kind of getting they're forgetting about it thing, and then we shortened it up to 10 days, which we still kind of aim in that 10-day range. But we're doing a lot now in 5 to 7 days, and it's super. I mean, we're not having any issues with it. Like I said, other than us making sure that we've got all our ads in, and if we want to run an ad in a certain paper or something, we need to make sure that 5-day window falls over that time frame. But yeah, we've had some people call. We had somebody call the other day. The girls went out and inventoried it. I posted it the next day after the catalog was edited. It was a Thursday, and I think we closed it on Tuesday. It was like a 5-day actual run time, and then the pickup was 2 days later. So, I mean, he was completely done in a week.
Wow.
So.
That's impressive. Yeah.
But to justify that, we didn't do that when we started. When we started our onlines, we did leave them simmer a little bit longer, but now we're seeing the turnaround traffic when we post something, when we post an auction at noon, now by 6 o'clock, we've got a bunch of bids. So we've built it to make sure we've got that repeat traffic. There's people checking the website every day. We couldn't do that at the beginning because we would have sold something without somebody knowing. We wanted that 10 days, 2 weeks for it to get more eyes on it. But I also tell my sellers, now we're to the point I'm telling my sellers, if they're in a hurry, this stuff's either gonna not have bids for 7.5 days or 3.5 days. Because the only people are gonna bid in the last day and a half anyway. So now that we've got the eyes, we're more confident in that it's gonna flatline. I tell my sellers right from the get-go, don't even look at your auction. Because you were gonna call me the day before saying, I can't do this, I can't sell my car for $20, and I say, you're right, but it'll happen, and it does.
So you're not seeing any difference between 5 days and 20 days?
No, other than they just don't bid for longer.
Actually, I've noticed on some of ours, and if it's a really short one, like this one we did in 5 days, that's actually pretty short for us. We've done quite a few 7 days, but I actually put it in the title of the auction. I say, quick, 5-day equipment auction, bid now. That's actually the title of my auction. And so people see that on our website when they're scrolling through. They're like, oh, I don't have much time on this one, rather than, whatever else I'm going to call it, antiques and collectibles or something. That actually creates that little bit more urgency in the title. But I've noticed on our shorter auctions, when we really shorten up that time, the waiting window is a lot more reduced, and I'm actually getting a lot more action on day 1 than I am on my normal auctions when they've got 7 to 10 days. I had a high-end, they had all this high-end furniture, and people needed to be out in 7 days, and so I'm like, well, and they were totally fine with the process. They were like, we want a 1-week auction. We absolutely want to be done in a week. And I posted it, and I had no idea that I would get, I had like $6,000 in the first 3 hours. It was obscure to me. I thought this has never happened before, but people are feeling that urgency, and they're saying, oh, I only have 5 days on this. I'm just going to go ahead and bid now, which you all see that at the very end, but that's because we're giving them that time. And I don't feel like, other than some of our specialty collection stuff where you want to really kind of let it simmer and the conversation to start, the general personal property, it's pretty much all our same buyers anyways. I might get 1 or 2 new people on Facebook, but it's going to be those same people anyways, and they log right in and bid right away. It doesn't matter how long you give them.
So, when we think about that personal property, okay, we do it quick, or we have pickup that's local, fast. Okay, but then the one thing that I think that we have to think about is if you will offer shipping, how quick can you get it out, and at what price point can you get it out at? Because if you're going to ship it, if you're going to take it to a UPS store, it's And if you're gonna ship it from your facility, you're gonna have to pay somebody who's staff, you're gonna have all the supplies, so that's all a cost to you. You know, can we efficiently send stuff out, or do we just have to say, hey, it's just gotta be pickup only, because that's the only way it works for us?
I feel like you kind of have to make that decision a little bit upfront. I mean, you can't let your buyers dictate how you're gonna do that. I mean, for our personal property sales, we say no shipping. You know, we would maybe, in our terms, it says this is a pickup only auction. If there is an item that you would specifically like to request shipping, you may contact us to see if it's an option. And lots of times we would say no, but most of the time I'm gonna say yes, because I'm like, sure, we can arrange that. You know, we have somebody, when you guys.
Our next door neighbor.
Yeah. Tracy said the other day, she's like, they love your options. I was like, I didn't have any idea we were shipping to somebody in Tennessee or whatever, you know, but it works for her. She calls us up and said, hey, I know this is a pickup auction, but I'm in Tennessee. I'd really like those phone packages. Can you mail them? Sure, why not? Thanks for asking.
Right.
Instead of after the fact saying, hey, can you ship those to me? It would have been nice to know ahead of time.
Right.
We had a guy buy a $600 54 Ford parts car, and it cost him $1,800 to ship it. He was all right with it.
We shipped our tractor seats to Australia.
That is cool.
I think it's hard not to offer shipping in the Amazon days.
Yeah.
Hard not to offer it at the Amazon days.
Well,
But-
I recently bought something in an auction, sometime this year, and they didn't offer shipping. But I didn't know that. I didn't read the terms. Who does?
Yeah, do you auction business?
Hey, how many of us are like shipping UPS and FedEx?
Their stores, or, through their store?
Well, or, no. Well, I'm just, you know, I wonder if we can negotiate a rate with them.
Well, potentially, I mean, weren't you able to negotiate one just for your office?
Yeah.
So.
But, you know, the rate that Amazon is giving is unbelievable. I mean, it's, you know, and I wonder if we could, as a group, I don't know.
Yeah.
Matt, could you go ahead and take that on, please?
Yep.
MarkNet Prime.
MarkNet Prime, yeah, there you go. It's like Amazon, but we're about 2 weeks out.
Just like
2 week shipping if it's a Prime item. They're not all Prime.
$100 a year.
Right? Yeah. Now I'll start collecting $100 a year from, you know, half a million bidders in there if they want to be in Prime. We can probably figure something out then.
That would be sweet. I mean, we use UPS. We decided on our first tractor seat auction, we tried to do it ourselves. And then the second one, we were like, that was absolutely horribly not worth our time. Awful. And so we put in our terms and said, we're using UPS. They're going to package it. They're going to call you. They're going to charge you. We didn't make any money on it, but we're like, it's so much better than us having to deal with it.
You didn't lose any on it.
We didn't lose any money on it. Absolutely not. And some people complain. They're like, oh, we don't want that. We want UPS because it's cheaper. And I'm like,
One guy.
One guy.
And he complained to you too, Kurt, I'll tell you. You can tell me his name.
There's always one guy.
Every time.
But it was just worth it. I mean,
And then you're
it was
not
worth
taking on
the
that
extra cost
liability.
for those. Huh?
You're not
Oh,
taking on
yeah,
the
no,
liability of
exactly,
packaging.
exactly.
They contact some people.
I don't see how you charge it up on personal property, say on out from $5 to $10,000.
On a lower end personal property sale, how to make any money on it? Yeah.
Even 12, 13,000. What my labor costs, there's no way.
That's a good thing. Like, is there ways to make money on those small estate auctions where, you know, maybe it's going to bring $10,000? Can you charge enough? Can you do enough?
Well, I'll tell you what we've been.
And it kind of goes back to what Fred and Emily were saying there. No small auctions, just small commissions. And whenever we went in and punished them with 30 or 40% commission, they took it. turn some of them around where they were pretty unprofitable.
So you look at 30 to 40%, and then you charge the buyer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, there's 40 or 50% on some of them, and, you know, if we didn't get it, we didn't get it, but to our shock, people would agree to it.
Consigned to a larger sale, so it should be a combination of multiple estates.
Yeah, we're putting a few of our real little ones together. We're putting a few of our real little ones together just to, help out the sellers with the expenses and prorate those expenses, which I'm sure anybody can, but we're, Marvin, we're doing a lot of little sales. We're doing a lot of little downsizings, and, we're charging by the hour for our staff to facilitate, to catalog and facilitate the pickup on top of our commission and marketing. We don't, I've never done much with adjusting my commission for those littler sales. But we're trying to charge by the hour for and whenever I pitch it to somebody, you know, we charge $30 an hour for our staff people to go out and take pictures and catalog, okay? And, you know, my pitch to them is, we really only want to get paid for the time we're here. And, you know, the older clientele that we're working with values your people's time because they grew up working hard and, you know, working for $1. And those older clientele say, yeah, we expect to you to be compensated for the time you're here, type of a thing. So, but we charge for the hours that they're there, taking pictures and cataloging, and then when we go back to do the pickup, then we charge the same rate for however many staff people we have, $30 an hour per person, and then the same for our pickup rate. At least that's covering those costs that we're paying our staff people. We're at least getting those expenses covered. And, you know, your commission check isn't big on those little bitty sales, but we're still serving that customer, and we're not having to dip in our pocket very often to pay the help, you know.
I think with the way society is moving, it is more true now than ever before that the great philosopher J.J. Dower once said, solve a man's problem, he'll make your living. And I think as long as you solve the problem, there's so many times they don't care.
That's what I was just gonna say. I mean, a large majority of what we're doing are small sales. They're just small dollars, small quantity. And we're working harder on just streamlining processes to get those done than counting those dollars. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, I can have 6 really
You can
small
generate a bunch of them.
and not have a lot of time or energy into it.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're not doing them a good service. They're still getting, you know, their little $1,000 check at the end of the day, and they're happy. But we're like, that, I didn't really have to put a lot of time and energy in that because we're just working really hard at getting, you know, making sure that we have everything super, super streamlined as much as we can. Save on all those costs, you know.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah. Charge a minimum. Charge a minimum, you know, minimum commission or whatever based on that. Yeah. 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 Other discussion items, something you're just dying to bring up? See a lot of people are trying to get out of here to catch their flights, try to get home.
You guys should come to the rodeo if you're here tonight.
Right, there's a rodeo
That's
tonight.
the rodeo. Final.
So tell Okay, so tell us about the rodeo tonight. Where is it at? Where
Freedom Hall.
Freedom Hall. So it's connected to the livestock show that's going on.
They basically, they did that rodeo, the FFA wants it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been as long as I know.
Okay. 7 o'clock, and you can still get tickets to the rodeo.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Thursday night.
Okay.
It's the first night that it starts.
And the event you compete in is steer wrestling. There you go, steer wrestling. Something that I believe I just go out and just get the tar beat out of me if I try to steer wrestle. So, yeah, very cool.
I did that once, it just wasn't on purpose.
Right, yeah. Kurt tried it, but he didn't mean to. So, yeah, very cool. The rodeos in town. It's actually this is a big deal. I mean, this is the finals deal? Finals of the Great Lakes Circuit, yeah.
There's about 12 or 13 circuits all over the United States. The Great Lakes, Kentucky, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, everything basically around the world.
Very cool. Very cool. So neat deal. If you're in town tonight, go check out the rodeo for sure. Folks, as everybody's clearing out, I just want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for attending our meeting. I got asked about my presentation yesterday. It has been posted in the MarkNet group. It's up there. You can download the slide deck. If you have any trouble, just let me know and I'll send it over to you. But other than that, thank you guys for being here. We enjoyed seeing you. Travel safe going home.
What's the next meeting? You know what the next meeting is gonna be?
We don't have the location set yet. We've got it narrowed down to a couple spots.
You kept barking. Take care now. Yeah.
It'll be good. Just call me. Is he laying back?
Congratulations again. See you guys. Okay, check. See you, bro.
Yes, sir. So typically, I don't know how you do it. He
not touching that sidewalk, right? So typically, what these roads are.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And then maybe